Tight calves are one of the biggest problems that we all have. Even if you don't know you have tight calves, you probably do. And the biggest problem here is that they cause so many other issues. They're a root cause of lots of different pains. So the big deal is that if your calves are tight, you can't bend your knee forward over your toes. And what this does is we need 0 degrees of being able to bend over our toes in order to stand. We need 10 to walk, and we need 20 to run. Very few people even have 0 degrees. Their calves are so tight. What we do have instead is a cheater's way to get there, which is to collapse the arch in order to let ourselves bend forward. But you can see what happens when I collapse the arch. I'm putting a lot of stress on my arch. I'm putting a lot of stress on my ankle and on my shin muscles. And then I'm putting a lot of stress on my knee. If you can see how the knee caves inward due to the arch collapsing. That's why so many people have collapsed arches, is because of the tight calves not letting us bend properly forward. So the knee takes a ton of extra stress right here where we most commonly get pain, and in the patellar tendon. So a lot of knee problems are caused by the tight calves. In addition, if you can see with the leg caving in like that, it puts weird torque through the hip. It causes hip problems, and that in turn causes weird torque through the low back and causes a lot of low back problems. So pretty much any pain that you have from the low back down through the legs is at least partially due to tight calves, and we almost all have tight calves. So what I want to show you is a calf stretch that you can do to help improve that situation. But I use the word stretch very hesitantly. When we think of the word stretch, we instantly think of something that's too short and we want to stretch it longer. And that is not what we're trying to do. What's happened in the calves is that they're too tight. They're overworked for the most part, and they're tense. They won't relax. And we want to encourage them to relax. So yes, it's a stretch, but think of relaxing, not stretching, not pulling something longer. What people get in trouble with when they overstretch is that the tissue, because it's tight, it's overworked and tight, and now we come in here and we stretch it, and we're overworking it even more, and it will tense in response. It will become tighter each day. Even though in the moment it might look like it's longer, it is getting hurt and will get tighter and tighter and tighter. I've had plenty of people who have stretched for years. They stretch their calves, especially the hamstrings, in this way. They've overstretched everything, and they come back a year later and they're actually tighter than they were. And it's because they're overstretching. And I don't mean doing it for too long, I mean they're getting too big of a stretch for what their tissue can really tolerate. So what we want to do is think about relaxing. And to relax, you get to the very beginning of a stretch, the very first inkling of a stretch, and leave it there. Stop at that point, and you want to see it relax. So you'll feel a stretch, hold it at that stretch, and it should relax and go away. You want no stretch at the end. And it should take about 10 seconds, 10 to 30 seconds, but your goal will be get to a stretch and have it gone within 10 seconds. That means it's actually relaxed. If you have a stretch and 10 seconds later it's the same amount of stretch, you're not making any progress. And if you get to a stretch and 10 seconds later there's more stretch, you're going the wrong direction. You're tightening up the tissue in there. So that's not what you want to do. So how we do this, I like to have people put their toes up against the wall or a sturdy object. You have to be back far enough that with your toes up on there and your knees straight, you have absolutely no stretch in your calves. Nothing. Feels like nothing. Then you lean your body forward, my knees straight, and I'm just leaning my body forward, and I get the very beginning of the stretch of my calves, and I stop there, and I let it relax. It takes about 10 seconds, I have a stretch, it's starting to get less, and it's disappeared. My calf is now relaxed, and I can go a little bit further, but I won't. We just want to get it to relax. The reason I like this position so much for calf stretches is that it puts your toes also into extension. And that allows us to do another related stretch, which is same starting position, but now we bend the knee and we let the knee bend forward until we get the beginning of a stretch somewhere in the calves, underneath the foot, or in the toes. And so we can do another stretch here, get to the beginning of a stretch, wait for it to relax, Give it 10 seconds. Mine's relaxing a lot right now, and it's kind of pretty much released. So I have also now relaxed these muscles. These muscles are the long toe flexors. They come from deep below the calf muscles. They come all the way down, go underneath your foot, and then go into your toes. These muscles are chronically overworked, and they are, at least 50% of the time, they're the tight muscle down there. It's not the calf, not the big bulk of calf muscle, but actually the deeper muscles underneath that are causing the real tightness in here. And so this allows you to come in, knees straight, lunge forward, and you can get a stretch in the actual calf itself, and then you can start over, let the knee bend the knee forward, and get a stretch into the deeper tissues. So this second stretch does another part of the calf muscle and the deep toe flexors. So a two-part stretch, one here, one there. Whole thing takes 20 seconds, 10 seconds on each one, and you have helped to relax your calf muscle. And it should change a lot of things. It takes time, but the more relaxed your calves get, the less you're going to have your knee caving in on you all the time, and the better off your foot's going to be, your ankle, your knee, your hip, and your low back. So it changes a lot of things.